Welcome back everyone, and welcome back to a new deck profile video. I know it's been a while. I've been busy with the Hermit school, and then the previews started, so I had to get jumping on that. So I figured I'd go back to doing just a standard deck idea. And one of the characters I've wanted to look forward to for the Critical Role decks was Nott the Brave Irritable Goblin. This is a character that took me a while to kind of figure out, and if I'm honest, I'm still trying to figure her out. I believe Nott is a she. I don't watch Critical Role, so forgive me, fans, if I mistook Nott. But yeah, Nott's pretty cool. Nott is a 7-hand size, 22 health character with Chaos, Death, and Void. Excuse me, I'm not myself tonight. Nott has 2 enhances, the first of which is twice per turn. Add the top card of your discard pile to your hand, discard 1 random card, and if you discarded a copy of the same card, add it to your momentum. So either you're getting a card back to your hand for free, well, you're discarding a card, so you're either getting the card you want, or you're putting the card you want into your momentum. That's pretty cool. And then Enhance Mill 1. If you have less health than your rival, your attack gets +1 damage and gains Stun 1. So as a 22 health character, we're going to be lower than most characters starting off, so we can Mill 1 to get damage and Stun 1. And Nott has the Mighty 9 and Thief traits. So I basically had 2 ideas for Nott, first of which being the armor set from Dark Tournament's Kuro Momotaro, and second being this Around the World Walk the Dog build. And I thought, why not see if they could work together? So without further ado, let's get into it. First off, for our attacks, we have Armor of the Ape. It is a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 4 mid for 5 with a +2 high block. The Slam keyword. And it says when this card is added to your momentum, add it face up. It says Enhance Momentum, so while this card is face up in your momentum, your rival's attack gets -1 damage. So that's important because we want to be at lower health than our rival until our final turn, but we also want to control that rate of lowering our health. And then Enhance, this attack gets 1 speed and 1 damage for each of your momentum. If we're using Nott to pick up cards and then we discard those cards, they go to our momentum, so this could be a very effective kill card. Also, all of the armors go into your momentum face up, so if you have a armor in your top of your discard pile, you can add it to your hand, and then if you discard it with Nott, it goes to your momentum face up, so either way, you're getting a resource or you're getting another attack. So that's pretty cool. Next up is Armor of the Phoenix, a 4 difficulty, 3 control, 4 high for 4 with a +2 low block, and the Slam keyword. It says when it goes to momentum, it goes face up. It has a momentum enhance. This attack gets +1 speed, so giving speed to all of your moves, really good, especially when Nott can give free damage. Giving all of your attacks 1/1 is pretty good. And then enhance, this attack gets +2 speed, only playable if you have at least 1 momentum, which if you're rolling the dice with Nott, you're probably going to have at least 1 momentum. So making this a 6 high for 5, using Nott's ability, is pretty solid. And again, you can mill to gain the damage, and then hopefully you mill an attack, and then you can use Nott to try to add that attack to your hand. Then we have Armor of the Wolf, a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 5 mid for 5 with a +2 high block. When it goes to your momentum, it goes face up. It has a momentum enhance. This attack gets +1 damage, so more damage boosting, something we like to have. And then response, after your rival passes on an enhance, this attack gets +1 damage. So if you've got a lot of buttons to push, this can really stack into a huge deal. And then because you're gaining a whole bunch of momentum using Nott and other cards, you have EX3 and Powerful 3, which can boost speed and damage respectively by spending momentum. Also has the Slam keyword, which is handy for another reason. Next up in our attacks, we have Around the World, a 5 difficulty, 2 control. Tricky, but not awful. 4 mid for 6 with a +2 mid block. It has ranged, Stun 1, and Throw. So if you have less health than your rival, Nott can mill 1 to give this a second instance of stun 1 and boost its damage, which is really good on a throw, which means even if you completely block it, you're still taking half damage, rounded up. It says enhance, discard 1 momentum, add 1 copy of Around the World or Walk the Dog from your discard pile to your hand. So you can discard the momentum, pick up a Walk the Dog, and then you can try to use Nott to pick up the momentum, and then if you discard it, it just goes back to your momentum. So it's basically using, maybe your armor stuff for free, either getting another attack or getting it back into your momentum after using its momentum enhance. So maybe with your Armor of the Phoenix, or Armor of the Wolf, let's say, you give Around the World speed, or damage, so you can discard it from your momentum to pick up a Walk the Dog or an Around the World, then use Nott to pick up Armor of the Wolf, and then if you randomly discard that Armor of the Wolf, it goes into your momentum again, you can give it another free damage. So that's pretty solid right there. And then we have a Team Rokuyukai enhance. Nott is not on Team Rokuyukai, so we don't have to worry about that. Next up, we have Walk the Dog, an 8 difficulty, 3 control, 6 low for 6 with a +2 low block. It's got Powerful 3, something to use all that momentum on, Ranged, Stun 1, and Weapon. It has a static that says it gets -1 difficulty for each of your rival's committed foundations, maximum of -4, so this can become a minimum of a 4 difficulty attack, which if Nott is giving all of our attacks Stun 1, and some of our attacks already have Stun 1, that's going to become a 4 diff really quickly. And then it has an enhanced draw 1 card for each copy of Walk the Dog in your card pool. So that's pretty cool. You can draw more cards, you can hopefully get more momentum or more attacks with Nott. Your momentum can fuel that Powerful 3, and if your rival's being stunned out, they're not going to be able to block a 6 low, especially if they have cards in their card pool. So you can just spend all of your momentum on this Powerful or the Armor of the Wolf Powerful. So really good to have 2 game-ending attacks at your disposal. And then lastly, for fun, I have Dimensional Sphere. This is a 4 difficulty, 3 control, 5 mid for 1, with a +1 mid block. It has Charge, Ranged, and Stun 1. And it says, response, after you block with this card, remove the blocked attack from the game. When this card leaves the card pool, remove it. So this happens on the block, before the damage. So again, we do want to be a lower health than our rival, but we want to control our rate of descent, if you will. So being able to remove the attack before it deals damage, solid defensive play. And then enhance, if this attack is not blocked, draw 2 cards and discard 1 card. It's 5 speed, it's got Stun 1, and then Nott can give it Stun 1 and 1 damage. So a 5 mid 2, Stun 2. And that's not including if we have any of our Armor of the Phoenix or Armor of the Wolf. So this is likely not getting blocked, so we get to free draw 2 more cards. Pretty solid. Moving on to our non-attack cards, we have Nott's Flask. This is a 1 difficulty, 5 control with a +2 mid-block asset. It says, as a static, after you build this asset, add 3 booze counters to it. If there are no booze counters on this card, your attacks get -2 speed. So we want to keep booze counters on it, at least until the very end. Then it says 2 enhances. The first is commit, remove 1 booze counter. So you commit Nott's Flask and remove a booze counter. This attack gets +3 or -3 damage. So it's good for pushing that last bit of damage in, or helping control our rate of descent for our own health. And then its second enhance is a once per turn, mill 3, so you discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If you did not mill an attack this way, add 1 booze counter to this card. So it's a way to try to gain your booze counters back. Usually you won't be doing the mill, just because unless you're running a lot fewer attacks, it's just going to be hard to control that. But it could be useful. It could be helpful if needed. And then we have Cape of No Return. This is a 3 difficulty, 4 control with a +3 high block, and the unique keyword, which Nott's Flask did not have unique. So you can have as many Nott's Flask in your stage as you want, but only 1 Cape of No Return at a time. And it says, enhance, remove this attack from the game. Again, we want to control our rate of descent, so we want to play defensively until it's time to go on the offense. The Cape of No Return just makes sure that you don't have to deal with any specific attack. Moving on to actions, we have the Dark Tournament Looms. This is a time-shifted reprint from the original Yu Yu Hakusho set, reprinted in Dark Tournament. It is a 1 difficulty, 5 control with a +2 mid-block. It says Enhance Remove, add 1 card from your momentum to your hand, draw 1 card. So this says you pick up an attack from your discard pile with Nott. You discarded that attack, so it has to go to your momentum. Well, now you can pick that card back up and draw an additional card. So either way, you're getting your attack to your hand, which is pretty solid, especially if it's a card like one of the armors that you've already used the momentum enhance on, so you get the maximum value of those cards. So pretty cool, and you can do this on defense to draw basically 2 cards, 1 from your momentum and 1 from your deck. And Nott is not a twice per turn your turn, so you can constantly try to add the top card of your deck to your discard pile to your hand to try to get either a better block zone or a momentum to then pick up with Dark Tournament Looms. And then finally for actions we have Runaway, a 5 difficulty, 4 control with a +5 mid-block. It says response, lose X health. Before the damage step of your rival's unblocked attack, it deals no damage. Add the top card of your rival's discard pile to their card pool, X equals this attack's printed damage. So, if, say, your rival's throwing an Armor of the Phoenix at you, let's say Armor of the Wolf, and they boost it to High Holy Hell to, like, 30 damage. You can lose 5 health, and that attack does no damage, and they have to stuff the top card of their discard pile into their card pool. So this is another really good defensive piece to slow our rival's attack strings down, and to control our rate of health descent. Moving on to Foundations. We have Averse to Water. This is a 1 difficulty, 5 control with a +3 low block. It says Enhance Commit. This attack gets -2 speed. If it has the life or water symbol, it also gets -1 damage. So again, a little bit of chipping on that damage bit, reducing speed, making things easier to block, controlling our rate of descent so we're always at less health until our final turn, and we can always keep getting the +1 damage and the stun 1. Then we have Hostile Introduction. This is a 0 difficulty, 5 control with a +3 mid-block. It's got Mighty 9 Breaker 2, which means if your character has the Mighty 9 trait, which right now is Nott and Jester, this card gets Breaker 2, which is a responsibility that says after you block with this card, your rival's next check to play a card this turn gets -X. X equals your Breaker rating, and in this case it is 2. It also has a static that says after this card enters your discard pile during the Enhance step, your rival loses 1 health. This cannot reduce your rival below 1 health. With Nott, we're going to be milling a bunch of cards, and we're going to be discarding cards from our hand. So it's all chances to burn for an extra 1 little chip damage. Then we have Playing Pranks. This is a 2 difficulty, 5 control with a +3 high block. It's got response, flip after you block an attack, mill 1. If you milled an attack this way, the next attack your rival tries to play gets +2 difficulty. If you did not mill an attack, their next attack gets -1 speed and -2 damage, which is really good. Oh, sorry, Sam. Just kicked my cat in the head because he keeps getting under my feet. Sorry, buddy boy. So this is really good because either you make their next check much harder, their next attack's much harder to play, or it gets damage reduction, which is something we really want as a 7 hand size 22 health character. Then we have Traveler's Favorite, a 2 difficulty, 6 control with a +3 mid block. It says Enhance. If a card has been added to your hand from the discard pile during this Enhance step, this attack gets +1 damage. So this is basically free damage pump every time we use Not the Braves twice per turn. So basically, this is going to get +2 damage over the course of a turn per copy of Traveler's Favorite. Might be something to cut down a little bit, maybe to a 2 of, but I like the 6 check, so really good. 6 checks are good for string decks. Next we have Unbreakable Cheer, a 2 difficulty, 4 control with a +2 high block. It says response flip after you mill 1 or more cards, add 1 of them from to the top of your deck. So with our mill 1 with Nott, if it's not a card that we want to try to pick up, we can add it to the top of our deck. If it's, say, a Traveler's Favorite, we could put that 6 check back on top. If we mill 3 with Nott's Flask, and we have a way to draw a card off the top of our deck, we can put one of those cards back on top of our deck. And if you mill multiple cards at a time, you get to choose what order they go into your discard pile, so you know which one's always going to be on top. And a reason you want to know what's on top of your deck is Fearsome Transformations, a 1 difficulty, 5 control with a +3 high block. It says enhance, flip, draw 1 card. If you have no momentum, discard 1 card. Usually with Nott, we're going to have at least 1 momentum, so this is usually just going to be flip, draw 1 card. And another way to get momentum is Steaming Sphere's Power, a 2 difficulty, 5 control, +2 mid block. It says enhance, destroy, add 1 slam attack from your discard pile to your momentum. So that adds any of our armors from our discard pile to our momentum for the cost of destroying Steaming Sphere's Power, which is solid because we want those abilities in our momentum. And then response flip, after your rival plays an ability that discards 1 or more of your momentum, cancel it. So it can either protect us or it can gain us 1 of those momentum we want so badly. Next we have Acrobatic Style, a 1 difficulty, 5 control, +3 low block. It says response Tenacious, or playable while committed. After a rival foundation is committed due to your effect, ready this card. Nott is pretty much going to try to give all of our attacks stun 1, so we can always commit Acrobatic Style, give our attack stun 1, and when we stun 1 we can flip Acrobatic Style to ready it, continue our string. Then we have Childlike Appearance, another use for momentum, a 2 difficulty, 4 control with a +2 high block. It says enhance, destroy, discard 1 momentum, reduce this attack's speed to 0. If it is blocked, commit 1 rival foundation. So not only do you get to reduce your rival's attack speed to 0 and possibly full block it for pretty cheap, you then get to selectively commit 1 of their foundations. Pretty good. Another defensive momentum out here with Protecting Yukina, a 2 difficulty, 4 control, +1 mid block this time. It says response, discard 1 momentum. After you block with this card, the blocked attack deals no damage. This means for partial blocks it deals no damage, throws deal no damage, any attack that says this attack deals at least 1 damage will do no damage. So really solid defensive piece here. And then enhance, destroy, as a foundation, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. Now, if you added an armor from the top of your deck, it will not go in face up because it's from a private zone. If you add from your hand or your top of your deck, it's a private zone, so the static will not matter. But if it goes from a public zone, such as your discard pile or your card pool, then it would go in face up. Next we have Pitching In, a 1 difficulty, 6 control, +2 mid block with ally and ranged as keywords. It says enhance, flip, choose 1 card in your discard pile and place it on top of your discard pile. So we can take any attack we want in our discard pile, put it on top, and try to draw it from our discard pile with Nott. And then if we end up discarding it randomly, we then get it to our momentum, so it's not entirely lost. But really solid on being able to pick which cards we want to pick up at what time. Next up is Incredible Display, a 2 difficulty, 5 control with a +3 mid block. It says response commit, discard 1 momentum. After your rival plays a non-character responsibility, cancel it. So a responsibility like run away, for example, or if they have their own Protecting Yukina, or any other response that's not printed on a character, Showdown is a good thing to cancel with this if you're a string deck. Then it has another response, which is commit. After you block with a foundation, add it to your hand. So you can block with Protecting Yukina twice, and if you have 2 momentum, that's 2 attacks that aren't going to do any damage, which pairs really well with Childlike Appearance, because then you can partial block, deal no damage, commit their best card, and I already said deal no damage, and then pick it up with Incredible Display, do it again. Next up we have Nice Try, a 2 difficulty, 5 control with a +3 low block and the Taunt keyword. It says enhance commit, this attack gets -2 speed. We want to make sure our rival's attacks are easy to block. And then response, after your rival's combat phase begins, ready this foundation, playable while committed, or Tenacious. So you can commit it on your turn to pass your checks to play cards, and then when your rival's turn starts, ready it back up. Then we have Nejire-chan of the Big 3, a 1 difficulty, 5 control with a +2 high block. It says Enhance, destroy 1 foundation. This attack gets +1 damage. If it's blocked, gain 1 health. So this can be used offensively, obviously, to try to push more damage through. But it can also be used defensively if you know you're going to block with a Protecting Yukina, or fully block after using Childlike Appearance. You can give your rivals attack damage, and then if you block the attack, you gain health. So that can be a real cheeky way to try to stay alive and mess with your rivals' math on their kill turns. Next up is Broken Psyche, a 2 difficulty, 5 control with a +3 low block. It's got a response, remove after you take damage from an unblocked attack, add 1 card with a check value of 6 from your discard pile to your hand, playable while committed. We're likely never going to use that. It's mainly here for the Enhance, which is flip, discard 1 momentum, change this attack's damage to 2. So when used in conjunction with something like Armor of the Ape, you can then reduce it by another 1, so it can reduce the damage to 1. So this is another really good piece to try to keep you alive and control the rate of your health descent so that you can always gain as much out of your character as possible. Next up we have Easily Excited, a 0 difficulty, 5 control, +2 high block. It says Response once per turn. After an attack is played, it gets +1 speed and gains Taunt if it does not already have it. We don't really care about having multiple keywords, but the +1 speed could really help push an attack through, especially later in a string, or early in a string to force our rival to commit more foundations to block their attack, to block our attacks, and make sure that Walk the Dog is always as cheap as possible. In a similar vein, we have Feelin' Cute, a 1 difficulty, 5 control, +2 high block. This says Destroy 1 foundation as an Enhance, your attack is +1 speed. So it's kind of like Nejire Chan the Big 3, but for speed, trying to make sure that our attacks are actually connecting. And lastly, we have Chivalrous Competitor, a 1 difficulty, 5 control with a +3 low block. It says Enhance Flip, both players draw a card. So again, if we've milled a card that we want to draw, and we flip Unbreakable Cheer to put it back on top of our deck, we can draw it with Chivalrous Competitor. Or Response, before one of your foundations would be destroyed or flipped due to a rival's non-character effect, you can flip this foundation instead, which could be really helpful if your rival's trying to destroy something you really need, like maybe a Steaming Sphere's Power, or a Playing Pranks, or an Incredible Display. So that is my first crack at Nott the Brave, trying to focus both of these two ideas I had between the armor and focusing on momentum, and then focusing on the stun with Walk the Dog. I kind of tried to mesh them, and I can see, going through this deck, that it probably doesn't work as great as I'm thinking in my head, but you never know. You know, sleeve it up, and it might take a few iterations, but you could probably do something about this. But I've seen a lot of people talking about Jester. I've seen some people talking about Vex. A couple of my locals are talking about Vax. Even I'm giving the elf assassin? Thief? The Vax'ildan some consideration right now competitively, but I haven't heard a lot of people talking about Nott. And I think that's because Nott is just a little bit more complicated and not as straightforward as the other three. So yeah, I wanted to give Nott a try and just see what I could come up with, and this is my first go. So what do you guys think? Which of these 4 characters are you most excited to play, or are you excited to touch grass with freshly cut grass whenever that promo comes out? Because yeah, thought that was a joke, but it wasn't. So that's fun. And extra points if you get why I called my deck what I called it. So in the comments, if you understand this joke, thumbs up to you. Just leave a thumbs up. That's awesome. I love it. I do try to name some of my decks kind of funny joke or pun things, but yeah, sometimes I'm just in a rush. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of Nott, what you guys think of this build. Are you more focused on the armor and momentum, or something like the stun build where you just want to get your rival completely tapped out? Or do you have a completely different idea in mind for Nott the Brave? I can see a bunch of different variations probably coming to light. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. And until next time, take care, guys.